What's happening, guys? Adam Drake here again with another quick video, again with the Futaba 7PXR radio. And the setting that I want to show you it's just simple. It's called speed. So from the main menu, you'll just click on user menu, and then 3/4 of the way down, there's a setting for speed. And with speed, you can do steering or throttle. Now, people have asked all the time why I use a torque servo for throttle and a speed servo for steering. So I use the ProTech 170 SBL for steering, which is their speed version, and then the ProTech 170 TBL for throttle, which is torque. So the main reason for this is I like a little bit slower throttle servo. It helps make the throttle pull a little bit smoother and more controllable. If you use too fast of a servo, if you kind of get excited, pull the throttle fast, it can actually almost make the engine kind of lean bog because it opens the throttle so fast that it basically takes a big gulp of air, doesn't have enough fuel, and can lean bog. And then the other reason is because I feel like you need the additional torque for the brakes for long finals. So I don't really play with this setting too much, but it is a setting, and I'm going to talk a little bit about kind of why or when you may want to use this setting, especially for kind of the average racer. For me, I don't use it too much, but from time to time I will make an adjustment if I need to make a quick change on the driver's stand. So we're going to start. I went into throttle speed, and you can just click on turn, and then there's also a return. So basically what that's going to do is the turn is going to be the speed of the servo when you go to turn, or the initial kind of movement. And then the return is going to be when you're going to center, back to center with the servo. So if I make an adjustment on the turn, I normally will make that same adjustment on the return. That way it's just overall changing the speed in both directions for the servo. Now, you can go in and you can make other adjustments to kind of break that down and make it to where it's the turn is one speed, the return. I think you can even go in and break it down into like kind of 3 sections, like the mid also. But for me, when I slow the turn but then have a fast return, it just kind of makes everything feel weird, like it's not doing exactly what I'm telling it to do. And if I adjust the turn and the return equally, it literally just slows down the servo speed in both directions. So I think that's the way to go. If maybe in different applications other than racing, you know, you could change that. But let me see here on the steering side. Yeah, I have it to where turn and return are also both at 100%. But sometimes maybe you pick the wrong servo. Maybe for your ability, everything seems to happen a little bit too fast, and you want to just calm it down and make it a little bit easier to drive. It's really simple. You go in, steering speed, turn that down. I would go like maybe 10% at a time until you get to a point where you feel comfortable. The only time I would say I spent some time running 10 scale. This was 1 year before DNC. We got a bunch of rain, and I spent a decent amount of time at OCRC. Super high bite. You're running slicks. I was running my 10 scale 4-wheel drive car, and I made some kind of changes and adjustments to my car, and it just always felt like really aggressive, especially kind of off center or initially getting into the turn. And on my Tekin ESC for 8 scale, I always run the BEC voltage at 7.4. That way it makes the servo speed the same as my nitro car. Well, I did the same thing with my 10 scale car, and I was kind of struggling, and actually I had Ty Tessman drive my car, and he was like, holy cow, your servo is like so fast. So I just changed the BEC voltage to 6 volts, which is actually what the default is. And it made a world of difference, made the car just really easy to drive. I would say in most conditions for 8 scale though, we don't always or don't usually have extremely high bite conditions where the car feels like twitchy or over aggressive. So I normally like having a fast steering servo because I feel it allows you to kind of catch and control the car and also counter steer, especially when you're going through bumps. But for someone who maybe isn't quite as like on top of their setup or controlling the car, servo speed is something that you can make adjustments to that will just kind of help slow down and calm down your car. So again, cool setting. I recommend spending a little bit of time at your local track on a practice day. And if your car feels too aggressive on throttle, you may want to slow down the throttle speed. If it feels too aggressive on the steering wheel, maybe turn down the steering speed. But just a cool feature that I want to touch base on, and hopefully it will help you guys have a more enjoyable time at the racetrack.